What's good, all of my Ruthless addicts? This Ruthless conversation with Jaime Callica is brought to you by the Decency Assignment. The Decency Assignment for humans to strive for a better planet by starting with simple decency. Nothing overly kind, loving, romantic, exotic, just decent. One gesture at a time. Okay, you guys, make sure you follow the Decency Assignment over on Instagram at the Decency Assignment, and also Jaime Callica at Jaime Callica on all social media platforms. Okay, all right, you guys, that's about it. Let's get into this conversation.
The people know who is Jaime Callica.
So, hello everyone that might not know me. My name is Jamie M. Callica. From Trinidad and Tobago in the Caribbean. Originally grew up in Toronto. Half my life moved out to Vancouver, British Columbia on the west coast of Canada. Started acting in 2012, but it was one of those things that, like, you know, when you're born and you kind of know you're meant to do something. I saw Michael Jackson perform for the first time and I was like, I'm gonna do that one day. And but I was in business and did other things before, and one day in 2012 I woke up and I was like, today's the day. And got an agent and started taking classes and so on and so forth. And the first number of years it was rough. I couldn't book a job to save my life. And around 2015, 2016, I started to work considerably harder. I went through a bad breakup, and then, you know, God's led me. Like I said, like the shirt says, it's not luck. It's just God.
Absolutely.
And what's meant for me will be mine. And now I'm sitting talking to you about Ruthless, you know? So
Absolutely.
It's been a dope journey, but we're here.
Absolutely. And now you can't stop working. So that's a good thing to have, because every time I turn around, there's a new project for Jaime Callica. So let the people know, if you can, what is it that you're currently working on?
At this very second, I have a couple things coming out. So of course we're watching. Who said that? Amen. Right up. At this very second, I did a movie for Lifetime, November, December, and that comes out in the next couple of months. So I'll make sure to let you guys know about that. It's called The Exclusive. If you forget, just check out my IMDb page. You'll see it there, The Exclusive. I did a really dope piece called Jane. It's a period piece. It's a psychological thriller set in the 19th century. I posted a couple little pictures here and there in January when we shot that. We got, of course, Ruthless season 3. What episode are we on right now? It's episode 5?
Episode 5.
So if you haven't, Comp 6 coming up. So, you know, if you're not caught up on that, check that out. And you know, the boy is just constantly on his team to get that next movie, that next job, because I love it, you know.
Absolutely.
Some people, I mean, I shouldn't be talking about other people, like, everybody's motivations are their own, but I feel most alive when I'm on set. So it's like, come on, team, let's get the next one, because I'm ready, you know?
Absolutely. So how did you become a part of the Ruthless family? Tyler Perry, period. But how did you become a part of that?
I was actually shooting Tales from the Hood 3, executive produced by Spike Lee. I was shooting that. And on the day that I was returning, going back to Vancouver, my team in LA sent me the audition breakdown. And they were like, it's a tight turnaround. We need this by tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock. And I was traveling at night. So my friend that came to pick me up at the airport, we came to the house and it was like maybe 12 or 1 o'clock in the morning, and we did the tape for Ruthless. And that was on a Monday or Tuesday. Wednesday was my mom's birthday, October 30th. And I got a call from my team saying that I was pinned. I was shortlisted for the role of Ryan. So we were out celebrating her birthday, but we're like, you know, we're praying at the same time, because this is what I had been praying for so long. Then on the Friday, got the word that I booked it. Saturday, all the negotiations are happening. They're almost done. They wanted me to travel on Sunday, which was my birthday. We begged them to travel on the Monday because I had a whole day of celebrations organized for that Sunday with all my friends' parties and whatnot. We partied till 4 o'clock in the morning. Driver picked me up at 6 o'clock in the morning. I was in Atlanta that afternoon. So I was the last person cast. They had been looking for their bride for some time. And I gotta thank Mr. Swinton, Mark Swinton, producer over at Tyler Perry Studios, vice president, because he said when I had the meeting with him, he was like, I saw your tape. I walked down the hall to Tyler's office. I said, we found our bride. He watched it. And then he said, call his team. And just like that, you know, what's meant for you will be yours.
Wow. Well, you're absolutely killing it. Like, I don't care what nobody says. I love Brian simply because of the fact that
who doesn't love Brian?
A lot of people are hard on Brian simply because of how he's being treated by Lynn. But I love Brian simply because of the fact that he's actually trying to listen to her, trying to talk to her, trying to reason with her, instead of just instantly walking away. So Brian has endured some mess from Lynn, but he has that unconditional love for her. And that's what I like about the character of Brian.
Thank you. Yeah, that's when I read the breakdown, it immediately it was like family and country. And for this guy, sometimes you don't know who he's actually putting first, because he loves America so much and he loves his wife so much. And they've been through a lot with the loss of their child, her giving up her career. You know, she was in the military, she was moving up. But for Brian to move up in the ranks of the FBI, it required her putting her own aspirations on the back burner. And for that he was understanding and always compassionate and empathetic, because he loves her and he knows that she suffered through that for him. So while Lynn has been putting Brian through it, in the back of his mind, he's almost like, he feels kind of badly, like had she not given up as much as she gave up for him, maybe she doesn't act out like that. Right. So people just see that Brian's getting walked all over and that Lynn is crazy and Brian should leave her, but she's the love of his life, you know. And when you love somebody like that, you hope that you can bring them back.
Absolutely. The most romantic part about the scene between you guys, or a scene that was the most romantic between you guys, was when he came back with the locks that they both threw into, what was it, a river or something like that, and they had drained the river, and he came back with the locks, and I was like, oh my God, yes. So
yes.
Kudos to whoever put that together, but you literally implemented it and you're bringing Brian to life. And I'm gonna say this, and then we're gonna move on. But if something happens to Brian, me and Mr. Tyler Perry, we have issues. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. If anything happens to Brian, I need Ruthless Nation standing up and making a set of noise.
Brian,
a set of noise.
Absolutely. Watching Ask Jack Question Day and then just listening to you, I know the love that you have for your mom. Like I said, I humbly appreciate that. But if there was one career that you could have that would be able to take care of your mom, take care of you, whatever you need to do, what would that one career be?
It would probably have been law. My original career aspiration was to be a lawyer. Yeah, so I ever since small I wanted to be. To this day, my mom, like, she makes jokes. She's funny. But she'll just be looking at me like we could be in the kitchen and she'll be like, you know, Jay, it's not too late to go back to law school. You know, like, and I'm like, stop it, I'm not going back. But that was, you know, she would have loved to see me suit up every day and be in that courtroom arguing, because I love arguing. So we'd be arguing about something, or me and my friends would be at the house arguing about something, and she'll just look at me like, yeah, you should definitely go back to law school. You should definitely. So yeah, if it weren't this, it would be law.
Right. Well, that's okay, because you could put on a suit in any movie and be in the courtroom at some point in time anyway. So we're glad 100. That you chose the path that you did. It's never too late, but we appreciate the path that you chose.
No. Yeah, it's not. And that's that's part of the fabric of what I talk about all the time. Like, it's never too late. A lot of people will never, not even reach their potential. Like, it's not to speak ill or negatively on people's desires, but a lot of humans simply never try.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, it's one thing to think about it, try, and it not work out.
Right.
Like, I'm 5'10" and not a great basketball player. But if I wanted to be a basketball player, the minimum I had to do was try. It would be ludicrous to sit back and be like, I want to be a blank, and never even put your toe in the water. You got to try. And I try to tell people all the time, like, my swimming analogy, right? Like, I say, if I told you that if you got in the water, right? So picture the horizon, you know what I mean? Where the water looks like it meets the sky, okay? If I told you that your dream or your goal was where the water met the sky, okay? And if I told you that so long as you were swimming, you could never drown. So even if you're baby, like doggy paddling, sometimes you're standing still, but you could never drown. However, if you stop swimming, the current will pull you back to the shore, and then you'll be looking at how much further you have to now go again. If I say that, if I told you that, what would you do? What do you think the moral of that is? And they're like, oh, the moral of that story. Like right now, if I ask everybody right now, what do you think the moral of that story is? Most people would say, don't stop swimming. You can't drown. That's not the moral of the story. The moral of the story is that you got to get in the water. You can't swim from the shore. You know what I mean? So, like you said, if I want to go back to law school, I'll go to law school. There's forever gonna be law schools, but I felt like I was put on earth to do this, and I'm happy while I'm doing it right now.
Absolutely. So listen, I really wasn't gonna ask this question. It's current events. So you know I'm about to go with Will Smith, right? You heard about the situation between him and Chris Rock. I'm not gonna ask you on your opinion on how he handled it, but how would you have handled a situation like that? And you can be completely honest, because I know you will.
I'm going to be completely honest. I wouldn't have stormed the stage and slapped that man, but I could tell you that the next time I saw him, he might have felt these hands privately. And violence isn't the answer, but it's never the answer. Listen, it's never the answer. But like Will said in his speech, us performers, like even on the Ruthless Facebook page, people are really people are really giving Jamie a hard time because they forget that Jamie and Brian are two different people.
Right.
They'll be calling Jamie like a knucklehead and all this stuff. Jamie, they're typing Jamie, and we got to endure a lot of abuse regularly. You post something and you got a little bit of flab showing, and now they're calling you fat. You have a bad day, you got some circles under your eyes, they're saying he's getting old. Someone today, I mean, they were joking, but so now you clown a man's wife who's sick, and reports are saying that, in 2016 he's been clowning them at the Oscars, that there's been some bad blood. I'm not saying violence is the answer, but people have definitely gotten too comfortable saying whatever they want behind these little phone screens. Because in the day, when I was growing up, you say something nice like that to me on the schoolyard, I can't tell you what happens after that, So Jamie wouldn't have gone on the stage like that because that would have embarrassed my mother, but I'm not gonna say Chris Rock didn't deserve that.
Right.
And you can put hard eyes on that all you want. I'm not saying he doesn't deserve that.
Right. Listen, all I can say is, had he thought about it later on, and Chris Rock actually ended up really, really hurt, it would have been considered premeditated. So
yes,
I understand what you're saying as far as I grew up in a different age. We handled it on the schoolyard, and that was it. It was no more.
That was that. Yeah.
So
I'm from that time too. It's if it has to come to that, it comes to that, and then that's that.
Right.
You know what I mean? We don't have to talk about that anymore. We handled it. The two of us handled it. That's what it is. Literally it's gonna die down, and half the people are saying cancel Will. The other half of people are like, if that was your sick wife, what? You know what I mean? But like every scandal, if you will, we'll talk about it for a couple of days and it'll pass. And Will is genuinely a good dude.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Will's that guy that's just, he's nice and he's kind. Absolutely. And he's endured a lot in the media courtesy of Jada. And like I said, violence isn't the answer ever, but I don't know, man. I think Chris Rock, at the minimum, Chris Rock deserves to get slapped up in private. Because listen, I'll be driving and people will be driving slow in the fast lane or cutting me off or whatever, and I feel like I can murder them. You know what I mean? So I'm not the best person to ask this question to. I was Scorpio, my fuse is short, so yeah.
Have you endured any bad parking lately?
Oh man, I saw this one today. Just now, I saw a spot. I saw this person park way up in the spot, and they were in the road, and I was late and I had to get back. I was trying to look cuter than this. So I said, listen, I was going to do a little video, but I said, let me get in my car and come home. Leave this person alone today. They lived another day.
Listen, you just said look cute. Listen, I'm just saying, I'm pretty sure nobody in these comments are complaining about the way you look today. Or any day. So anyway.
I appreciate that. I'm looking at myself like, man, you looking sweaty. I have to do this. Big up my friend Jackie. She made these shirts, and when I first got this, right. I had posted, you know, because it goes to a good cause and they have some nice messages. It was the first T-shirt I grabbed, but it works all right.
Listen,
like,
you're your own critic, because nobody in here is judging you, and we appreciate you, like I said, for being a part of this conversation.
Well, I appreciate you saying that. Thank you. I was feeling self-conscious about it. This is Brian on an off day. You know what I mean? Like Brian just came from the gym. Brian sweats.
Cool. I know you've spoken about it on your Ask Jam question that Wednesday, but if there was one particular person, for the people that don't know, one particular person that you could work with in your acting career, who would that person be?
Viola Davis. Yeah, everything I watch her do is like a free masterclass. And I'll watch, and people say, oh, like being an actor ruin watching television or movies for you because you nitpick them. I'll typically watch everything twice or more because I'm watching one for entertainment value and I'll watch one for like lessons.
Right.
And I have some friends that are actors or even acquaintances or strangers that come to me for some advice now that I'm doing okay. And the first thing I ask people is, how much TV do you watch? And they'll be like, oh, I think they think it's a trick question. They'll be like, oh, I don't really watch a lot of TV. I read a lot of books. And I'm like, it wasn't a trick question. Watch TV. You have an opportunity to watch these greats. David Spader and Viola Davis and all these people that used to just do movies are doing television, and you can watch them weekly.
Right.
You know what I mean? Or you can go on Netflix and binge watch an entire. You want to have a comedy style like Jason Bateman? You could literally watch 30 Jason Bateman things and pick up his cues for free.
Yep.
People will spend $10,000 to go and learn Jason Bateman's calm, and you could still be laughing hysterically, and this guy never smiles. Now, yeah, no one's gonna do it like him, but that's still a master class. And a lot of actors don't watch TV on account of like, oh, I don't have time. I'm telling you have time. Or they don't have the desire. And I'm like, all right, that's cool. Because I'll be watching all these people and I'll stop it and I'll think about how I would have delivered that line. And most of the time, it's not nearly as good as them. Like whatever my innate instincts would have been. And of course, the director, I could have done it that way and they could have loved it. It's going to, of course, be different by any two people. But everything I watch Viola Davis do is better than how I would have done it. So I can't even imagine being on set with her every day for a show or a movie. I come out of that better. And she's funny. Like, look at her Instagram. She's always posting cute stuff. Like that little boy that was doing that dance. Right. You know, Viola Davis seems like she would be mad cool to kick it with.
Right, exactly.
You know?
She's definitely been doing it a very long time, and definitely someone we can actually, anybody, even if you're not trying to get into the acting business, but there's a lot of things that you actually can learn from her. So, very good pick. A
ton. She's like a social advocate. She's advocate for women's rights, for Black Lives Matter, like for a lot. Like you really kind of go for mental health. You know, If you really kind of follow what Viola Davis says and what she does, you're in good shape. Like she's a great person to follow. You know what I mean? And a lot of people be following celebrities that have absolutely no substance and absolutely nothing to talk about, and yet if they say jump, you jump. They put out some mascara, you're lining up to buy it, and yet people like Viola Davis, you couldn't say one thing that she's trying to really spread in the world, and the world needs help right now, man. We're not beyond repair, but we need some help. Like I've been trying to figure out this thing. I think I'm gonna call it like the Decency Project. And as I try to figure it out, I'm gonna make a page for it and everything. And I haven't figured it all out yet, but if you look up the definition of decency, it's the bare minimum.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like to be decent is not kind. It's not good. It's not great. It's not loving. Decent is you drop the tissue that you meant to put in the garbage can, the trash can, and that you just pick it up and put it in the garbage can.
Right.
That's just like the decent thing to do. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
You're walking out of the gym, you are already touching the door, and you see someone coming, even if they're 20 yards away. How long is it gonna take? It's gonna take them 6 seconds. The decent thing to do is just to hold the door.
Absolutely.
Hope they don't have to touch the door. You're already touching the door. And imagine, I say this to people like, as I'm beta testing this Decency Project, I'm like, imagine if we were all just decent. Not kind, not good, not great, not loving, not romantic, just decent. Simple decency. And I want to like, I hope as my platform grows and my voice grows, I'm able to say to people like, yo, go be decent. And the first 50 people that tell me what you did are going to get a blank. Like something, I shouldn't have to reward decency, but like, if everybody was just decent, our planet will get better. And we got to do, it's micro, like little steps in your own community. You see that person that looks kind of sad? There's this one commercial, I can't remember, it's like some candy bar, and the girl is on a bus and she's kind of crying to herself. And the little boy offers her like a Snickers or something like that. You know what I mean? It's like, and it's like that. There's no words exchanged. He's like a 7-year-old little boy, and it was just like he was being decent. You could see this teenager crying for whatever reason, failed a test, broke up the relationship, whatever it was. Imagine if everybody was just decent with the people around them. You know what I mean? When your server comes over, you say thank you or you say please. Decent.
Absolutely.
So we're working on that. We're gonna make that happen.
That's gonna be an awesome project. Dreaming of Jamie asks, what has been your favorite episode of Ruthless so far?
That we've seen or that I've shot?
I know you can't say what you shot, so probably.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say what happens, but I think it's episode 15 or 16 of season 3. Is you see some of my, it felt like some of my best work. So something that's to come, and when we'll do this again, when that happens, we could talk about it. I'm really proud of that, which of course isn't answering the question that vividly. But in season 2, when Brian walks in on Malcolm and Sarah in the living room, I can't remember. Pardon me, I can't remember what episode it was. It was towards the beginning to middle of the season, and he's like, yo, he brought you here. They're watching you. He's setting you up. He's setting you up. Come with me. And I had that whole powerful like 20-page scene with Sarah and Malcolm. I love that scene. I love shooting that scene. I love watching that scene. That was definitely one of my favorite scenes.
Listen, I was watching that scene, waiting for you to shout out to Anthony West, but I was waiting for you to just pop him, like you're messing it up for everybody. But that was we actually had a take that we got physical, and it was like the actors were so in it, and I put my hands on him. I had like put my hand on his shoulder to be like, yo, move, and he 2-hand pushed me back, where I fell backwards, not on the ground, like I stumbled back, and then I went at him, and Mr. P was like, cut, stop that, and he actually shut it down. He was like, yo, I don't condone that violent stuff. We're not doing that today. Yeah, we were in it. We were like, me and Bless were really in it, and we were about to like come to cuffs. Yeah, and we were perfectly fine. We checked on each other right afterwards. We had to finish the scene, of course. But in the moment, like the actor instinct was to get physical in that moment. So you're not far off from what we actually did. It just didn't make the episode because we cut and then went again, right? Gotcha. Okay, that's dope. Okay, so let's see. We have another question from, let's see, Mona Mbegu. Sorry, honey, if I messed that up. I am so sorry. But she asked, do you have any biggest turnoff? If so, what is it? So now they get a little personal, and if you're
that's good. Okay, we can handle that. I answered that one on like on Ask Jay Question Day Wednesday. For me, a huge turnoff is if you're unkind to strangers. Deuces.
Right.
Deuces. Like, speaking about like your server at a restaurant, you know what I mean? Like if you don't treat that stranger that's literally serving you nicely,
right,
you're for sure gonna get drunk one night and disrespect me in front of my mother. You know what I mean? Like, if you're not nice to decent to strangers, that's a huge turnoff for me. Huge turnoff.
Y'all hear that?
It tells me a lot about
strangers, or that's gonna be a turnoff for Jamie. Okay?
Or you can't date me.
Like, we can't even be friends after that.
No, we can't. Yeah, you're not gonna be on this couch. We're not gonna be drinking wine together. We're not gonna cuddle. And I'm a master cuddler. If if you're not nice to strangers, if you're not decent to strangers, you don't have a chance.
Right, period. So, Samaya Borno is asking, and you may or may not be able to answer, well, you probably won't be able to answer this question, but is Andrew going to kill you in the punishment trailer?
I can't answer that.
Right. Right.
Yeah, anything. And listen, I get a lot of Ruthless questions weekly. Shout out to everybody that comes and rocks with me, everybody that's there on Ash Day Question Day Wednesday. Appreciate you guys. I get a lot of like what's to come questions, and of course I can't spoil it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
What I will tell you is that question's not even going to be answered at the end of the season. Yeah, you're going to have to continue watching.
Exactly. Yeah. I figured that something like that is something that we're gonna have to. You guys are gonna give us a mid-season break, as always, and then we're gonna come back and the answer more than likely still won't be answered. So, or the question won't be answered. So, no, he's not killing Brian. Bump all that. No, I'm answering.
Yeah, I mean, we hope not. We hope not.
Fingers, toes, eyes, crossed, everything. We're not with that. Like, no.
Everything.
We need.
Like I said, if anything happens to Brian, I need you to get unruly.
Absolutely. Hey, I will. Because we need to know what else is going to transform between Lynn and Brian. So there's no way that we're not even speaking that to existence. Anyway.
What I will say about this, what I will say about the Brian Lynn saga is it gets really, really crazy. Like, if anybody thinks or thought it was going to be like simple drama, like just simple cheating, simple her taking advantage of Brian's kindness, you're mistaken. It's going to get really, really crazy, and I can't wait. I can't wait to see the comments, because people have been coming for Lynn since season 1. You know what I mean? I try to defend her, even though like Jamie's like, yeah, I can't stand that woman too. But what's about to happen? Mod.
Wait. And of yours, and she'll probably get really mad if I don't ask. But she wants to know. This is from Nookie by Nature. She wants to know, when is you and her wedding? When is y'all wedding? When are y'all getting married?
Listen, you gotta, Nookie by Nature, you gotta come in. You gotta come and meet my Callica. You know, like my Callica, you gotta be nice to her. She loves lilies. You know what I mean? Bring her some lilies, white lilies. You gotta come with some wine or be ready to drink wine. I always have good wine. You know, we gotta, once we do that and my Callica's like, all right, then you just gotta get rid of Janet Jackson. You know, get Janet out of the way, and then, you know, I'm free. Let's go.
So in other words, we got chance. Oh my God. Wow, this is really, really fun. Really, really fun. With that being said, if there was one thing that you learned from working with Mr. Tyler Perry, what would that be?
Discipline. That's something I prided myself on prior to that. Discipline and work ethic are paramount if you want to work on a Tyler Perry show, because we shoot at least, I would say, okay, if 10 times, if a normal television show shoots 3 to 5 script pages, we're shooting 115 to like 160 script pages a day. So that's what, 25 to 30 times a normal, 20 times a normal show. 10 times would be 30 to 60. Yeah, 20 times a normal show. Okay. Which means if you don't have your words decently well, like our script supervisor, Miss Jennifer, she's phenomenal, and you know, she'll help you out. But the amount of dialogue that we are going through in a day, if you don't have your discipline and work ethic down pat, it will feel like you're drowning on set. And getting to watch how he works was huge for me, because he wrote every episode, he's directing every episode, he's the executive producer, creator, and then of course he's still conducting other Tyler Perry studio business. And he's on set from jump to end like us.
Right.
But yeah, he still has other things to do before that and after that. Has a son at home. So I think one of the greatest things I really saw him demonstrate, which I took away in everything I've done since, is work ethic. If they've hired you for this job and you don't go there work perfect, like I try to be, I'm close to work perfect. That's not me being braggy. It's that I would rather go to set and be word perfect than sleep. And that's a reality. When I'm in Atlanta shooting, I'm passing on sleep so that I could go, because if Tyler Perry could do all that in the same amount of hours as me, I don't have any excuses. So working with him was huge.
Right. Absolutely.
Huge.
So, are there, Mr. Tyler Perry, he is absolutely an amazing individual. He brings a lot to the table for everybody that's working with him, for him. I've literally watched from the very beginning, one of his very first plays, up until where he is now, and literally it seems that the same work ethic that he had back then, he literally has it now. It is just elevated because of the level that everything is.
Yeah.
And you guys are amazingly talented to be able to go into an environment with Mr. Tyler Perry and work with him, because like you say, there's lots of lines that you guys have to learn and plenty of scenes that you guys have to shoot, and one day you got to be ready for it. So you guys are awesome and talented. I love that about this Ruthless cast. You guys are so talented.
Thank you. I appreciate you saying that. And like, you're absolutely right. I can't really add much to that, because his goal adjusted as he grew, but his work ethic never swayed. There, if you look at it on like a line graph, his work ethic always stayed all the way up here. Even as he earned more money and more fame and celebrity, he kept his work ethic. And a lot of people get lazy. You know what I mean? Like, you'll see a lot of people achieve some measure of success or financial benefit, and now you got a few million in the bank, and you got a couple of houses paid for, and you drive fast cars, and you're kind of like, let me take my foot off the gas a little bit. And he was like, no sirree, that's not me. And like, you look at everything he's done and continues to do, and he works like he has nothing.
Right.
You know what I mean? The man is a billionaire and works like he owns 300. Actually, he just bought another 60 acres. So call it about 400 acres. He has a whole studio. They're building more sound stages. 12 of them are rented out to Marvel for 18 months straight. The man writes, produces, directs all his regular original programming, and still is doing other things, and still is working with Netflix, Medea, and so on and so on. He's working like he has nothing.
Right.
How old is he now? Like, what does he drink in the morning? Like, I want some of that.
Right.
Because there's some days where I'll be laying in my bed, and I go to bed late because it's my time. I'm a night owl, and I'll be reading and doing what I got to do, and so on and so forth. And there'll be some mornings where I'm waking up like, I'm really not going to go to the gym. And I'll think about Mr. P, and I'll be like, nah, Mr. P will get up, and he has 20 years on me. I can get up and go to the gym. Thank you
so much for tuning in to this Ruthless conversation with Jaime Callica. Make sure you follow us over at Original TP Ruthless Fans over on Instagram, and make sure you follow Jaime Callica at Jaime Callica on all social media platforms. All right, you guys, that's about it. Stay ruthless.